Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good out there today. I hope you had a good day of trucking. I hope that you had the best day that you've ever had. Now, I know that some of you kind of got snowed in up there with that little blizzard that come in up through the Springfield, Missouri area yesterday and all that. But hey, you know what? We appreciate y'all. We appreciate everybody that gets out there and trucks every day that keeps America moving forward because we are the pulse of this nation. We are the heartbeat of this nation. So I appreciate every driver that we got out there. So today, we're going to have a special guest on the program tonight. His name is Mr. Tom Hawks. He has been in the trucking industry for quite a few years there. And Tom, he is an inspiration to a lot of people. So I'm going to bring him on the show along with Steve Brand here in just a few minutes, and we're going to have a conversation with Tom there. So anyway, without further ado, I'll bring Tom and Steve in there. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Hope you're all having better weather than I'm having the good stuff down here in Tennessee. So
Oh yeah,
snow goes up beside me, it goes across, but it never falls where I'm at, and yet here I sit on a mountain right in the middle of it all. So,
right in the middle of it all.
right in the middle.
Well, Tom, let's get started tonight. I had a few questions I wanted to ask you, but mainly I want you to have the liberty to, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your story, how you got into trucking and stuff like that. So, Tom, if you could just give us a little bit of overview of when you started, how you got started, what you did. Just have at it, Tom.
Well, when you're a kid, you grow up and you have ambitions. Some want to be a fireman or they want to be a policeman or something. My dad owned a truck stop. And although all these big trucks are around and making all these noises, of course, at the eyes of a little kid, it's just like, wow, I'll never be in that. But as luck had it, I was working at an Army ammunition depot in West Tennessee. And this was back somewhere around 1970 or so. And they came around asking people if they wanted to drive a truck. Well, there I am on an assembly line. Boy, I'd do anything to get out of here. So they took me under their wing and taught me how to haul ammunition. And I had the greatest teachers you could ever imagine to have. Because, you just didn't make mistakes at that job.
Right.
And it grew from there. I'd done auto parts, hauling out of Atlanta for Raylock, Shoney's restaurants, and a Chrysler Mopar unit at Memphis. And then I was lucky enough that overnight transportation picked me up back in the day before they were bought out by UPS Freight.
At Memphis.
Well, UPS
was
was called UPS Freight.
Before they were bought out by UPS.
So I spent 24 years there out of the 35 that I've been in the industry. It is a wonderful career. I drove 3 million miles without an accident. It's a very rewarding career. Got a lot of doors open to me to go into road teams on the company level, the state level, the national level. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful career, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. I tell you what, and let me ask you this. Speaking of being a wonderful career, tell us a little bit of the changes that you've seen in the trucking industry over the years.
Oh, my goodness. I still see it today when I'm helping out at the state driving championships, the charity events. I get in trucks today compared to, say, 10 years ago, and it's like I have to get a map to find out how to get out of the trucks with all the safety equipment. But all the lane change alert systems, the mirrors now you don't have to have anymore, and it's all on a video or whatever you call it on the dash. And there's a lot of changes then, but I came up through the ranks when they didn't have any power steering, and you had to do all that shifting and at governor's speeds and no air conditioning and all that. So I learned a lot during those years that drivers have it really pretty well made today with the comfort levels.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And all those tools are great tools to have. And
Yeah.
whenever I go to some of the schools and give some demonstrations on how to share the road with our commercial vehicles, I do remind them that those are all just absolutely tools
Yes.
in themselves. And you know what? But there's nothing that can ever replace the driver, him or herself, as far as being a safe driver.
Absolutely. It has to take an educated driver to stay abreast of all the regulations and rules that are changed almost weekly, and all the safety items that come with those tractors and trailers. It's a learning process every day. You cannot quit learning.
Right. Steve, you got any questions?
So what year did you start driving a truck, Tom?
Oh, it was about 1970, 71, somewhere in that area. And I drove on the ammunition plant for a couple of years. Then I graduated into all kinds of other things. I hauled cattle and pigs. I've hauled auto parts, just a little bit of everything. But when overnight picked me up, I found out LTL was the way to go.
It's pretty gravy, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Yeah,
And
I started.
you build up your seniority, and things become better and better and better. The one thing the new drivers today are going to have to learn is you always going to start on the bottom, and you're going to have to work your way up. You don't get everything right off the top.
You don't?
No.
I thought that's the way it is. I thought you just walk in the door and you get the brand new truck.
I've heard that story too. Yeah, but nevertheless, it is one of the most rewarding careers you could ever do in your life.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is, and that's what I tell a lot of the younger and upcoming, and even your middle age folks that's got unemployed. Back when GM, Ford, Chrysler went out, I was working for a company up in Illinois, and a gentleman went to school, come to work for us. And he told me, he says, man, I've worked in an assembly line for 20 years. And, the first thing I asked him, I said, I'm quite a bit younger than you. I said, is that going to be a problem? And he said, you have the experience. I don't. Teach me. And I said, well, we can teach each other. And believe it or not, we had a great 4 weeks in that truck. He taught me some things, and I hope I taught him some things. I haven't seen him, but he got his own truck.
You changed the life of one individual. But see, we need to find a way to get everybody on board and see it the way we know it, and learn how to do it and make this industry better than what it always had been.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's always room to be trained. Always. If the man, of course, I know management sometimes in some of these companies today, they're making ends meet 1 week at a time. Right. And they don't have the money to spend on training. But when you hire a guy and you don't know that he's actually trained to do that job, and he goes out and wrecks a truck that's got, say, $1 million worth of goods, look at the lawsuits, that all the cargo damage. One thing, he could bankrupt small companies. But if you train the driver and just spend even if it's a couple of $1,000s, I mean, what are they doing now? Charging $4,000 now to train the drivers before they can get the CDL now?
That sounds about right.
Put that on that driver and make sure he's committed to you. You'll never have to go to sleep at night and worry about that phone ringing.
Exactly.
They'll go to bat for you.
Exactly.
All right, guys. I'm getting several text messages that people can't see us. They can't find us live. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end this broadcast and I'm going to restart it again. Okay.
I think what they're doing is they're going to the old clip that was waiting on. I did that last week and missed the first 15 minutes.
Okay.
I realized what the date was.
Yeah. Let me try to end this broadcast and see if we can get it rebooted. Okay.
Okay. Sure.